Hello everyone, welcome to the When at Work podcast. You're with the host Julian Leahy. Today I'm joined by the fantastic Michael Dealoia and Sara Lohse. Welcome to the show, guests.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome. All right, music's on. We're going to play Jeoparty. Sara's dogs are excited. Let's get into it. That's all right. The way it works is, Sara, you can go first and pick a category. And Michael, if you want to jump in, you just need to raise your hand and I'll get you in. Sara, the categories are and, colleges and universities, lakes and rivers, poets and poetry, rock and roll, this and that.
Goodness. Let's try poets and poetry for 100.
Poets and poetry. Chrissy Hynd of this group said she wasn't trying to set an example. I just wanted to play guitar in a rock and roll band. Chrissy Hynd, sort of big in the 80s. Her group was called The, starting with a P. Any idea, Michael?
The Pretenders.
Oh, you did know. Let's take a look. That's correct. Well done, Michael. 100 points. You're in control. Oh, that's no good if I minimize the screen. All right, continue on. Michael, what would you like? And colleges and universities, lakes and rivers, poets and poetry, rock and roll, or this and that?
Well, I'll continue with rock and roll for 200.
Rock and roll for 200. Dave Grohl recorded this band's 1995 debut album by himself, but has lots of help on 2011's Wasting Light.
The Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters is correct. Well done, Michael. Off to a good start. What would you like next?
Well, I'm still asleep, but let's try rock and roll for 300.
Rock and roll for 300. Paul Simon is smashing his bass on the cover of this group's London Calling. Paul Simon or Paul Simonon? Well, we know.
Simonon.
Yeah, is it? You know the band?
The Clash.
The Clash, yes.
Yeah,
good song. Punk rockers from the UK. 300 points. Don't worry, Sara, you'll have a chance to jump in. What would you like, Michael? 400 for rock and roll?
Continue with, yeah, let's do it.
Fans offer thanksgiving for Dolores O'Riordan, lead singer of this band, with the hit Linger.
The Cranberries?
Cranberries is correct. Michael, you are absolutely on fire.
I'm sleepwalking, to be honest.
You're sleepwalking your way through. Would you like another rock and roll question?
Yeah, let's kill that category.
Let's kill the category. A song by the Bonzo Dog Band gave this I Will Possess Your Heart group its Grizzly name.
That one, I have to say, I do not know.
I don't think I know that one. And Sara, do you have any idea? Grizzly name, band, Bonzo Dog Band.
Something with bears.
If you've got bears in this, I'm going to give it to you. Death Cab for Cutie. I do remember that band.
I know the band. I
Yes,
did not know that.
Sure. They've got like 13 albums or something. All right, Michael, I'm still going to give you another chance to stay in control. If you cannot answer, we're going to cross over to Sara. What would you like?
This and that for 100.
This and that for 100. Greek myth says the goddess Eris not getting an invite to Peleus and Thetis' wedding feast helped lead to this war. This is kind of ancient Greek history.
Trojan War?
If you get this, you are a master. Oh, no. Michael, incredible.
I just threw that out there.
You threw that out there. You just.
I'm just here to hang out.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you'll get a turn. Michael, what would you like?
This and that for 200.
This and that for 200. From 1877 to 1901, she also held the title of Empress of India. I never knew India had an empress.
Queen Victoria.
Oh, clever. Queen Victoria. Well done. Obviously,
Are there any millennial categories?
Well, these are all real Jeopardy questions, and they are quite hard. Michael's just doing very well. Obviously, India was settled by England during the I can't remember what they call it, the something period. Continuing on, Michael, what would you like?
This and that for 300.
This and that for 300.
We-
Prince Borghese
No, please go ahead.
was victorious in a 1907 Beijing to Paris race using these, winning time 61 days. He used these, so it's two things. Beijing to Paris race using these.
Train and plane.
Let's take a look. Automobiles.
That's a good
Alright.
one.
Still in control. If you get this one wrong, we're going to head over to Sarah. What would you like?
This and that for 400.
This and that for 400. This 1831 literary title character preferred single gypsy women and was a tough guy to buy shirts for.
Well, I think for millennials and Gen X alike, that's a tough question. So,
Do you know the answer? Pass. I'm going to give you a clue, Sarah. He's a dude with a hunchback.
The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Is Quasimodo the Hunchback of Notre Dame?
Yes,
Yes.
All right, well done.
I'm on the board.
You're on the board, and you're not far off. Was that 400 points, or did I just do it wrong? That was 400. Well, okay, that's good. What would you like, Sarah?
Colleges and universities for 100?
Bill Clinton was elected freshman and sophomore class president at this DC school, but lost his bid for student body president.
Georgetown?
Is correct. Sarah, storming to 500 points. What would you like?
I don't know if that's a storm or like a light drizzle.
Yes, more of a drizzle.
Colleges and universities for 200.
200. This university was founded in Ithaca, New York in 1865. Today, other campuses are in New York and Qatar. Oh, New York. It'll be one of the Ivy
Columbia?
League. That's what I was thinking. Let's take a look. Cornell.
Oh.
Okay.
That's
Right.
embarrassing. I went there.
You went there? Oh my God.
Did
Well,
you really?
Like an online thing, just so I could put it
Yeah.
on LinkedIn that I went there.
well, you're still in control. Sarah, would you like another stab at colleges and universities?
Sure. 300.
300. Geeks can hoop. Eventually, in 2007, the men at this Pasadena University snapped an 11-year, 207-game losing streak. Pasadena is that, what state's that?
There's one in California and there's one in Maryland.
That's what I was
think
thinking.
you're
So
talking
I was
about
thinking California.
Yeah, California.
What do you got? Berkeley. What else you got out there?
UCLA. No.
Which is the UCLA.
Which is the smart one?
Yeah, the Silicon Valley where all the guys come from. Is that Berkeley or UCLA? Maybe UCLA.
Berkeley's like a music school, isn't it?
Okay.
Oh wait, no. UC Berkeley isn't. Let's go with UC Berkeley.
UC
Or no, Stanford.
Stanford. Okay, let's take a look. Caltech. Okay.
Or that.
Or that one. Never mind. Michael, you're in control now. What would you like?
Lakes and rivers for 100.
Lakes and rivers for 100. The name of Mille Lacs, a lake in this state, means 1,000 lakes. Sounds like an undercount. Oh, which is the lake? The state?
Minnesota.
Yeah, is that where the Great Lakes are? Let's take a look. Minnesota is correct. Well done, Michael. You're in control at 1,300. What would you like?
Lakes and rivers for 200.
Lakes and rivers for 200. Major ports on this river include Yaroslavl, Nizhny Novgorod, and Rybinsk. Sounding particularly Slavic or river.
Yeah. I'm
So-
going to have to pass on that one.
The Nile.
Let's take a look. The Volga, which
Oh, the Volga.
think
That was my next guess.
in Russia.
Right?
And you're still in control. One more chance to stay in control, Michael. What would you like?
Yep. Lakes and rivers for 300.
Lakes and rivers 300. Crack open a Brazil nut and tell us your time as a captain on the Rio Madeira, a major tributary of this river. It has to be the The big Brazilian river. What's the one with all the piranhas?
The Amazon.
Amazon. Let's take a look.
She wins.
The Amazon is correct. Well done. That's 300. Now you are catching up. What would you like, Sarah?
Poets and poetry for 100.
Poets and poetries for 100. In the 1380s, this English poetry pioneer dedicated his verse romance Troilus and Chryseidae to fellow poet John Gower. Sounds like a bit of a love interest. English poet in the 1380s. Now that's a long time ago. Shakespeare wasn't a poet. He wrote plays.
William Blake?
If you get this. Ooh! Geoffrey Chaucer.
Chaucer.
Not Jeffrey Dahmer. And continuing on, you're still in control, Sarah. What would you like?
And for 100.
And for 100. Developed by the Open Handset Alliance, this platform brings internet-style innovation to mobile phones.
Bluetooth?
Android.
There's the and. I get it now.
Okay, now I think that was 2 wrong. You're in control. Am I right there? You're in control now, Michael?
Yeah, I'll do and for 200.
And for 200. Adjective meaning having both male and female characteristics. Oh, it sounds similar to the recent answer.
Androgynous?
Androgynous.
Sarah's
Yeah, right.
jumped in there.
She did.
Is correct.
There's no buzzer.
Well, I did have one, but it's just kind of difficult, and sometimes people can't work it out, so we're just going to yell out our answers. You're in control now, Sarah. What would you like?
And for 300.
And for 300, name of the symbol seen in all the category titles on the board except and.
Ampersand?
The ampersand, Sarah, the dark horse,
That's a good one.
has drawn level. How exciting. What would you like, Sarah?
And for 400.
And for 400, this spicy sausage is a jambalaya staple.
Andouille?
Andouille is correct. That's 400 points. Sarah's on fire. What would you like?
Finish out the category.
500 for and. One of a pair of metal stands for holding logs in a fireplace. What do we call those things?
Stands.
5 seconds left.
Mm.
Michael, I heard a grunt. Do you have an answer?
No.
No?
I do not.
Andirons. I've finally just woken up to what that category is all about. It took me. It took me that.
I still haven't figured out what the this and that, like what that means. But
Took me a long time. All right, now was that one incorrect? I think you're still in control, Sarah. Are you? Yes, you are.
do poets and poetry for 200.
Poets and poetry for 200. Southie wrote, his coat was red and his breeches were blue, and there was a hole where his tail came through.
Peter Cottontail.
Peter Cottontail. The devil. Goodness
Or
me.
the devil.
Goodness me. All right,
Why
Michael.
is he wearing blue pants?
Yes, I know. Must have been a bit of a fashionable outing. Michael,
Yeah.
what would you like?
Colleges and universities for 400.
Ernest Rutherford was working at this Montreal university when he explained how radioactivity works. Ernest Rutherford. Montreal University. I'm drawing a blank there.
Yeah, me too.
Any idea, Sarah? That's the French-speaking part of Canada.
It is.
McGill. Okay, you're still in control,
That's-
Michael.
That's not a French name.
It's
but,
not at all.
I'll take colleges and colleges and universities for 500.
In 1900, the founder of this Houston University was suffocated by his valet and a lawyer out to steal his fortune. Goodness me.
What is Sam Houston University?
Rice.
Oh, Rice. Ah.
Okay, over to Sarah. You're in control. What would you like?
Lakes and rivers for 4.
Lakes and rivers for 400. This long river with a short name rises in the Cottian Alps and empties into the Adriatic. Long river. Oh.
The Po?
Well, the Po. Never heard of that one. And that's 400. Michael's on 1700. Sarah's on 1700. It's tied once again. Michael, what would you like?
Let's do lakes and rivers for 500.
Lakes and rivers 500. Canada's biggest river.
Oh my God. No idea.
There is a reality show where they are looking for gold in this river. I'm going to give you a clue. Starts with a Y.
Yellowstone.
The Yukon?
Yukon is correct. I think you just snuck in there by a hundredth of a second. Michael is in control. Sarah,
This and that for 500.
Sarah's done very well to come back. In names of cat breeds, this kingly word follows Devon and Cornish. Cat breed, kingly cat breed follows Devon and Cornish. Devon tea, Devon. I feel like there's
Do not know.
Cornish pastries, but it's not really a cat. Let's have a look. Rex. Okay, not sure what that's all about.
That is
More of
kingly.
a dinosaur than a
kingly.
king.
Yes, it is dinosaur-y as well. Michael, what would you like? Poets and poetry, 3, 4, or 500?
3.
Robert Louis Stevenson's Green Thumb produced the classic A Child's This of Verses. Child's something of verses. Child's.
Garden?
Was that garden? Was that garden you said? Sarah? Let's take a look. Sarah was a little bit quiet after she gave that answer, but she got it correct. Sarah, you are on 2,000 and you have a chance here to take it out with 2 questions left. What would you like? Poets and poetry?
Let's try 400.
400. Rhyme entered European poetry in the Middle Ages, in part from this language in use in the region of Al-Andalus in Spain. What
Catalan?
region?
That's a good one.
Arabic.
Wow. I
You
didn't
got-
know they spoke that in
You got
Spain.
your last chance. If you can get this one correct, you're going to steal the lead. Last question. Poets and Poetry 500. As a poet, the author of this prose work, Cameroon, made the rhyme scheme ottava rima standard in Italian. It's an author of Cameroon. Tough question. If you don't know poetry, I have no idea. Time's up. Have a guess, both of you.
Machiavelli.
Shakespeare.
Boccaccio.
Boccaccio.
Well done, everybody. The final scores. Sarah, 2,000. Michael, 2,200. Absolutely very exciting and close game. And let's go and talk to Sarah now. And tell us a bit about what you've been up to. Selling like an artist. Guesting on podcasts. Take your pick.
Yeah, I run Favorite Daughter Media. So we focus on launching branded podcasts. So we help people use podcasting to grow their businesses and learn how to tell their stories and use the stories to drive value and drive attention to their brands and connect with consumers, connect with their target customer in a way that's really authentic and value driven, not as much salesy and marketing driven.
What is it that people, the first thing that they come to you with, they say, Sarah, I want to create a podcast, and what are some of the beliefs that they have which maybe need to be corrected?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think with the branded podcast, a lot of people kind of come with the idea that it's supposed to be about their brand, which sounds like it should be, but it's really not. When you do a branded podcast, you're really focusing more on thought leadership and talking about the values and the ideals behind your brand versus your brand itself, because or else that would basically just be like an infomercial, and no one really wants to listen to that.
Exactly. And what are some of the things people can do to make a podcast that people actually want to listen to?
You want to record a podcast that you'd want to listen to. So focus on the topics and the stories that you're really passionate about and that get you really excited, because that's going to make it really fun for you. You're going to enjoy it, and that's going to translate to the people who listen.
Do you find that people have an expectation of how quick this is going to take for them?
Yeah, I've had a couple people that expect it to kind of be like a overnight success or like get rich quick plan, because they see some of those really big podcasters and expect to kind of mimic that, but that's not really how it works. It's really a long game. It's something that takes a lot of time to build your audience and build the show, but it can be a really, really great investment if you put the time into it and really cultivate that audience and build those relationships, and then also use it as a tool to get you on stages and get you partnerships and connect with other podcasters, other people in your industry, the people you bring on as guests. So there's so many ways that you can use it. And lead generation, you have my free ebook on the screen, and it's all about ways you can use a podcast or other types of media to generate leads. And that's a really fantastic way that you can use it to build that business.
Awesome. And if we could get 3 key takeaways of what you have seen makes a successful podcast.
Lead with value and stories. Have it be about what the listener can do versus what you can do for them, so that it's very actionable and they can really walk away with something that they can put into action. And have fun with it. If you find that it's not something you're enjoying, find something else. Nobody needs to have a podcast, but it can be a really fun way to reach your listeners.
Yeah, I think that's one of the keys, because it's one of those things where, like you say, it takes a long time, and if you're not having fun with it, immediately it's going to become the biggest chore in the world. And I don't know what the percentage is of people that quit podcasts, but it's got to be something like 97%.
It's very high.
Yeah, and if it's not fun, you're just not going to stick it out. So I agree very much with that. And what if somebody, say they are, who do you work with mostly, Sarah?
I work with a lot of entrepreneurs and small businesses, and I'm also starting with internal podcasts for bigger corporations to help them really create a great company culture and connect with their employees, no matter how far away all their offices are.
That's very interesting, Sarah. Is that something new? I've never heard of that before.
It's not new, but it's not all that mainstream, I would say. But it's just a really great way to improve that corporate communication. There's so much that when you join a company, you get handed on paper that you're never going to read. But if you swap that out for something that's engaging, something that helps you really get to know the leaders in the company, use an internal podcast to celebrate wins, introduce different key employees. There's just so many ways that you can make it more personal, make it better to connect, and really improve that culture from the inside.
That is a fantastic idea. And what size companies are doing this?
So any size company can do it. In my opinion, it's a really great tool for companies that have offices spread out.
Yeah.
So it's a way that even if you're on the East Coast and you've got teams on the West Coast, you can still kind of have that unity. And then especially now with remote work, like how can you build a corporate culture when you're not actually in an office? It's a really great way that even if they're at home, they're still getting that piece of connection.
Yes, and I often think in big companies, when you're not even meeting or know even, say, the board of executives and stuff, if you don't even know who they are, that could be bad for culture. But if you're actually able to speak with them and hear what they're trying to do, that would be incredible. What I was going to ask you was, in those types of internal corporate podcasts, do they make the workers listen to them, or are they optional?
Um, you could do it either way. I would say mostly it should be optional, but there are ways that you can use it for onboarding, like having all of that paperwork at the beginning. Have that be a podcast instead. Have HR go through the benefits package so you actually understand it. Things that actually make it easier to join a company and more engaging, easier to understand. Those could be mandatory the same way that going through all of that paperwork is mandatory, but it should always be about having fun making those connections. You don't have to force people to listen to them, but if you do a good job, they'll want to.
Excellent. And if people decide, look, Sarah, I like Sarah, I want to get some help from Sarah, what do? They go to your website, and then do they have a phone call, a Zoom call or something with you? Or somebody?
Yeah, you can go. You can go to my website. It's favoritedaughtermedia.com and press any button that says book a call, get started, go to my contact page, and just book some time with me. I would love to have a conversation and see if it's something that's right for you.
Awesome. And who are you, the favorite daughter in your family, Sarah?
Absolutely. Just don't tell my sister.
I was just thinking it's a bit rough on the other daughter.
Yeah, I got to the name first.
You did.
I beat her to it.
You did, and it might be true. Sorry, Sarah's sister. All right, Michael, tell us all about your fantastic podcast network, Evergreen.
Yeah, well, first, Julian, I got to say thank you for the quirkiest experience ever on a podcast show. I've just enjoyed it from start to finish. We started Evergreen in 2017, and with 4 shows. It was me and 2 interns, and this year we'll probably do a little north of 280 shows, about 22 to 23 million downloads, and just seen a lot of explosive growth in a very challenging industry right now.
And so you got lots of shows on there. Now you are like producing these shows, or how does it work? I'm not 100% on how it works.
No, that's a great question. There are 3 types of podcasts that we handle. Our own originals. These are shows that we own. We typically have 20 to 25 originals in production at some point during a 12-month period. And like Sarah, we handle a lot of branded podcasts. That's the second form of podcast that we produce. And then finally, we have a lot of partner podcasts. And it turns out Sarah produced one of those partner podcasts for us, which unfortunately is not in production anymore. But our partner campaigns have really been the growth of the business. I mean, as you can tell, to grow from 4 original shows to 280, we could not have done that without our broad base of just really great partner podcasts.
And if somebody decides that they want to have a podcast on your network, what are the options that they have?
Well, on the partner side, that's a fantastic question, because in the early days, quite frankly, if you had a pulse and a podcast, you probably made the network. But it's just gotten to the point where we really need to monetize the podcasts that are coming on. So you're going to have probably a minimum of 5,000 to 10,000 downloads a month, and also be in a genre that we specialize in. Now we've got 12 genres up on the network. But the top ones being music, health and wellness, entertainment, true crime. If you're in those particular stronger categories, it's going to be a high hurdle to get over to be on the network. The smaller shows that might be in business or sports, those are probably a little easier for us. Maybe 1,500 to 2,500 downloads a month. We're just fighting the battle that everyone's fighting in podcasts, is that we got to scale in order to make our larger revenue figures to keep this beast going.
And what are the benefits to being on Evergreen?
I think philosophically, the benefit is that we've always wanted to be like a 1960s jazz record label, where it's all about the hosts and the talent. And we structure everything 360. We'll handle hosting, distribution, sales, marketing, account management. We're even doing guest sourcing, So really, we want you to produce the best podcast that you can in terms of being a partner with Evergreen, and we handle everything else for you. We're like your Jerry Maguire and the podcast realm.
Yeah, so you're looking at established podcasts that have been around for a while, getting a lot of activity. And would most of those people be looking to switch from, a DIY type setup to just being overwhelmed and they need a professional outfit to come in and take a lot of these functions off them? Is that the people that you help?
Julian, you just hit it right on the head. Yeah. As we all know, you're doing a podcast, Sarah produces podcasts, to source the guest, schedule, record, edit, host, distribute, and then try and sell on top of that, and then do all the marketing. It's a full-time job, and we try and take away a lot of those activities away from the podcast host so they can just focus on creating the juggernaut podcast that we all know it's possible.
Absolutely. And if you're out there and you're, plugging away with your podcast and you're feeling like you need help, you're looking for that next step, I think we've got two very good guests on that you might want to follow up with. Whoever, check out both of them, and one of them will be a perfect fit for you. Thank you so much, Sara Lohse and Michael Dealoia, for coming on.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having us.
And you did fantastic at Jeopardy as well, which is good.
There's no double Jeopardy?
Well, I'll tell you what. In the Champions round, there's a full Jeopardy game. But in these ones, we just do the one round. But stay tuned on the YouTube channel, and once we fill up the tip jar, we'll be having a champion round. We invite back all the champions, and we'll play proper Jeopardy with double Jeopardy and final Jeopardy. All right, everyone. I'm wrapping things up. Thank you so much to our wonderful guests, and for everyone out there, see you next time.